the Bush family. Wealthy, powerful, by any measure, a true dynasty. For generations, the Bushes were a hidden force in American finance and politics. Now, they've come out from the shadows. How have they claimed their place at the top of the pyramid of power?
Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. It is important for people in the world to hear that should I threaten our national security interests, there will be reprisal. I can't name the general.
It's
General.
And the Prime Minister of India?
The new Prime Minister of India is, no. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again. A major U.S. Daily story about subliminal messages. I don't think we need to be subliminal.
Remind me again why we're invading.
Because it is our sacred duty to liberate the population from, what did Jack Straw call it, one of the most vicious and evil regimes in the history of mankind.
Yeah, Saddam Hussein, but didn't he used to be our ally?
Well, I mean, there was a time when he was a bulwark of stability against the fanatics of Iran, but we've got to forget all about that.
Of course. He's a threat to our oil supplies.
How many times do I have to tell you, Tristram, this has got nothing whatsoever to do with oil?
Sorry, yes. So, this is a historic moment.
Certainly is. Nothing like this has ever happened before.
Remind me again why we're invading.
Yeah, because it is our sacred duty to liberate the population from one of the most vicious and evil regimes in the history of mankind.
Oh, you mean the Turks? But didn't they used to be our ally?
Well, there was a time, of course, when the Turks were a bulwark of stability against the Russian Empire, but we have to forget about all that.
And of course they've just discovered oil there, haven't they?
This has nothing whatsoever to do with oil.
The RAF had a big air base at Habaniya outside Baghdad, from where they sent lumbering Handley-Page biplanes to blitz them at the first sign of trouble. In fact, there didn't even need to be any trouble at all before a place was bombed. Perfectly peaceful villagers got the treatment if the tribesmen were thought to be too slow paying their taxes.
This was the first systematic bombing of civilians in history. Another gift to a grateful world.
It can't be about oil. George W. Bush says it's not about oil. Dick Cheney says it's not about oil. And these people should know.
Bush, George W. Founder of oil company Arbusto Energy, former shareholder oil company Spectrum 7 Energy, former director Harkin Oil and Gas, son of oil magnate George H.W. Bush. Cheney, Richard Dick. Former CEO, oil company Halliburton Industries. Customers included Unocal, Exxon, Shell, and Chevron. Plus Saddam Hussein, Colonel Gaddafi, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Rice, Condoleezza. Former director of oil company Chevron. Chevron are partners in a massive Caspian oil venture, had 129,000-ton oil tanker named after her. Meet Thomas White, former vice chairman of Enron Energy Services. While he was in the job, Enron rigged and exploited California's electricity market, causing chaos, power cuts, and unemployment in what the Senate investigator called a mob-style protection racket. He doesn't work there anymore. He's now Secretary of the U.S. Army. Meet Larry Thompson. He headed up the Audit and Compliance Committee of Providian. This insurance firm was forced to pay $400 million in fines and compensation after swindling its investors, the frail and elderly, of most of their savings. Larry later faced personal claims of insider trading after selling $4 million of Providian stock just before the share price dropped. But he doesn't work there anymore. He's now George Bush's fraud buster, charged with restoring faith in American business ethics. And meet Dick Cheney, head of the Republican committee to find a vice presidential candidate. He found himself. He sold $30 million of his shares as chief executive in engineering company Halliburton after accounting changes allegedly inflated the share price by $234 million. The shares later collapsed, and Halliburton are now under investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's thanks to men like Tom, Dick, and Larry that the biggest of the big guys, our great leader, George W. Bush, can stand proud and say,
We should be able to punish corporate leaders who are convicted of abusing their powers by banning them from ever serving again as officers or directors of a publicly held corporation.
George Bush. And he should know, because he's been arrested 3 times for different offenses and only got off an $800,000 oil shares trading charge when the investigator, appointed by his father, said there was insufficient evidence to proceed. God bless you, America, and God bless men like this, who do so much to truly make our nation what it is today.
If the Arab population realize that the peaceful control of Mesopotamia ultimately depends on our intention of bombing women and children, I am very doubtful if we shall gain that acquiescence of the fathers and husbands of Mesopotamia to which the Secretary of State for the Colonies looks forward.